the second hour of our program. On the line with us is our buddy David Pepper, the lawyer, writer. His latest book is Saving Democracy, a user's manual for every American. You were interviewed, for somebody else's piece, and the topic was why are younger voters going with Trump? And you noted this was a 19-year-old student. You said, for this is normal. It's all we've. This person said to you that. Let me start over. You guys were discussing how weird and abnormal contemporary politics have been since the introduction of Donald Trump, by and large, 9 years ago. And this young person said, well, that's all we've ever known. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. This wasn't even about why young people might vote for Trump. It's about understanding what they've seen their whole lives. So the conversation. This was actually back right before Trump won, and I was saying to a group of college students, hey, everyone, what we're seeing here is not normal. Trump and all the offensive things he said, and, this was in the heart of that 2016 campaign. I said, none of this is normal. And that's when this young woman raised her hand and said, Mr. Pepper, to us, this is completely normal. And she went on to explain, since we were like 10 or 11, they questioned the citizenship of our president based on the color of his skin. And now I think back to the people who've come after that young woman and all they've seen. And so when we who are a little older all say this is not normal, we have to remember that all they've seen is this crazy stuff. And that doesn't do much. That doesn't, maybe that helps us see that we actually have to work even harder to convince a group of people who've only seen politics be so broken, so screwed up, so over the top, so corrupt in many ways. For those of us who think it can be better, we've got even extra work to do, because we can't just simply say to them, we've got to return to what it was like. They never saw that. Yeah. And so that's what I wrote that essay about, was to understand that every year that goes by are more young people who've only seen how bad it is, don't recall when it ever was good, and those of us who think it can be better need to work extra hard to make sure they can see that going forward.
Yeah.
Or what do you get as a result? You get lower voter turnout. You get less of a connection to democracy if their only experience with it has been what they've seen so far.
Yeah, it's the same with economics. Trying to tell young people what economics were like in the United States in the 60s, 70s, before Reaganomics. The piece I published today, I believe, on my newsletter was, in part about how when my dad bought the house that he lived in until the day he died back in 1957. I was 6 years old. He bought it for $13,000, which was just about exactly twice what he made working in a union tool and die shop in Lansing, Michigan. Back then, according to the Fed, average home prices were 2.2 times average or median U.S. income. Right now, average home prices are more than 10 times U.S. median income. I mean, young people just have no idea how easily so many of us just slid into the middle class in the 60s, 70s, and 80s until Reagan's, neoliberal policies really, put the bite on working class people. We've gone from 60.
We're expecting this generation to just automatically gravitate around, capitalism that benefits all and democracy that lifts us, even though their lived experience has not been that that's the case. I mean, the big issue today, obviously, student debt. Yeah. It's so high that they're paying it for decades. They can't afford that. Even if the home was affordable, the debt makes it so it probably isn't. So we're asking them to accept all of our assumptions about these systems, even though most of their lived experiences, it hasn't worked out that well. So yeah. I think we got work to do on the policy to make it work. And I think we have to be smart enough and thoughtful enough to see that their perspective is quite different because of what they've seen, like that young woman told me, since they were 10 years old.
Yeah, it was brilliant.